Hello everyone, I'm Natalia Bilbao, and here's what's happening in LA this week. LA Mayor Karen Bass and LA Council President Paul Krikorian encouraged the thousands of volunteers helping with a homeless count of 2024. When it comes to the biggest issue facing the city, Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority relies on this count to inform its services for the year ahead.
Everyone counts, and we're all part of this. It's all about the humanity of it.
I'll be anxious to see the progress that we're making, but I can just say, with all of the leaders united and committed, we can get Angelenos off the street and into housing.
Tonight we kicked off the homeless count for 2024.
We had the mayor here, Supervisor Lindsay Horvath, Supervisor Catherine Barger. We'll have 6,000 volunteers that will join in to help 3,300 or so different areas of the city and county that we're counting in particular, 4,000 square miles. I mean, it's a huge endeavor and so important to knowing the nature of this humanitarian crisis so that we can get the funds we need to serve people and get them housed.
The homeless count really determines whether we get our fair share or not.
At this stage in my life, I'm fortunate to be thriving and doing well. I recall so many times while homeless feeling that I was all alone, feeling isolated, feeling that I didn't count, and so this is the perfect opportunity for us to come together and show that we all count. This count allows us to get a better picture of who's out there, where people are, what the needs are, so that we can better allocate the services that we have, so that we can request federal monies and other monies that are allocated for these types of situations. The only way we can do it is by knowing the scope of the problem.
We will work together, collective action, lock arms, and being on one accord about the solution of addressing unsheltered homelessness, bringing people inside from encampments, from tents, ending the devastation that we see.
It's number 1 in the nation and number 9 in the world. You might not always think of the port as being part of our city, but it is. The Port of Los Angeles is a vital driver of commercial activity across the Southland. We got the update on all the stats at the State of the Port 2024.
We're here at the 9th annual State of the Port Address for the Port of Los Angeles.
This is a great way to start the new year, highlighting the Port of Los Angeles, America's port.
Today, we bring together stakeholders from community, environment, and business and talk about how everyone has worked together to reach the accomplishments of 2023 and chart the course for 24 and beyond.
We talked about the importance of moving the cargo, but we also talked about the importance of retaining good jobs, of protecting the environment, sustaining the environment for future generations, and how we engage with the community to make sure that we are being respectful to our neighborhoods in Wilmington and in San Pedro and Harbor City. What I'm hopeful for and excited about is the commitment to make sure that as we are moving goods, as we are advancing this economy, that we are also making sure that we're advancing environmental sustainability.
Getting to a zero emissions port by the year 2030. The people in this room today represented the brightest thinkers we have to make this happen.
We are pleased to see the port focus on the environment as well as jobs for the community. Jobs and the environment can coexist, and that is what Gene and his team are doing down here at the port. The state of the port is in good hands.
Trying to take the advice and guidance of neighborhood councils, community, and faith leaders, all while keeping an eye on the prize of being the nation's largest container port.
This is America's largest and most vital trade gateway. Last year, $432 billion in international trade moved through this complex. This complex ranks number 9 in the entire world. Let's do everything we can to turn this economic engine into an opportunity engine that benefits everyone.
Leimert Park was lined with crowds to celebrate and activate the MLK dream of community at this year's Freedom Festival. Angelino shared in the sunshine, the music, and the creativity to recognize all that Martin Luther King Jr. represented during his life.
Well, today we are in Leimert Park, USA at the Kingdom Day Festival. We are celebrating the life, the legacy, and the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King. It's important for us to celebrate what he stood for, what he lived for, what he died for. And I think it's so important that we have all of Los Angeles out here today, all races, communities out celebrating and being a part of what Dr. King was all about, collective support to make a difference in this world.
We want to ensure that Dr. King's name does not die in vain, and that everything that he's contributed to not just black folk, not just the country, but to the world, to bring us together and make sure everybody can still live that out. So there are various resources. You got rental assistance, you have local merchants, food, performances, and a lot more.
You know, one of the last things that Martin Luther King talked about was about collectively coming together as a people. This is historically always been where the King Parade ended. And for now, for all the districts, CD8, CD9, and CD10, to take their resources to come together to actually raise this community is a beautiful thing. You know, the artist was able to come out, the small black designers and small businesses are out. And I think it's beautiful, man, that it happened here. This is the Mecca.
The late, great Reverend Dr. King died at the young age of 39. He made an impact in such a short amount of time. Life is short, but you can definitely make an impact if you want to.
We are more than grateful for Council District 8, 9, and 10 for setting all of this up. Those are folks that are making a difference in so many ways. The Mayor's Fund LA is here, and we are just more than grateful that all of Los Angeles is stepping up, and our community-based organizations, our elected officials, our small business leaders, and our entrepreneurs that are here are making sure that today is a day that will be remembered in love and unity and purpose to make a difference. Keep the faith and keep the fight, Los Angeles.
$2 million of funding aims to amplify voices of color in climate equity and justice. Mayor Karen Bass, Supervisor Holly Mitchell, along with city departments and organizations were at the MLK Memorial Tree Grove to announce funding and initiatives for climate justice.
The climate crisis is one of the greatest challenges of our time, and we know that low-income neighborhoods of color are disproportionately harmed by air and toxic pollution.
We are at the MLK Memorial Tree Grove atop the beautiful Kenneth Hahn State Recreation Area, and what just happened was a major press conference announcing what KBLA Talk 1580 is doing as its primary work this year. $2 million plus climate justice campaign aimed at elevating the voices of our people, amplifying their voices in a conversation that they're too often left out of. We know that people of color, black folk in particular, are victimized more than anybody else by these climate maladies. And so we're going to use our platform to really change the narrative on this conversation and make sure that people of color are involved and included.
We've really made equity a priority with the LADWP, with the Powered by Equity initiative. We're going to be building these EV charging hubs in the community and offering a lot of important services. And so we want to make sure that those customers who, historically have been neglected and underserved are really aware of everything that we're going to do to help make sure that the impacts of climate change are not disproportionately on their community.
As a South Coast Air Quality Management District board member and as your supervisor, I'm committed to transforming this reality by centering equity and environmental justice in all of our policy discussions and actions.
The highest level within the department and at the city are embracing and are committed to this event.
So it shows that they care about these communities, they care about this conversation, and we're just excited to be the conduit to make it all happen.
The LA City Department, which helps create equitable climate solutions, is Climate Equity LA, and you can find out more about their work at climateforla.org. Housing Authority awarded $4 million in funding. LAPD Chief Michael Moore announces his retirement, and Commission recommends Marilyn Monroe home for historical designation. These stories up next on City Beat.
The Housing Authority of the City of Los Angeles, HACLA, has been awarded $4 million in grant funding from the Southern California Association of Governments, SCAG. SCAG funding supports utility infrastructure investments as well as capital improvements, and it helps local jurisdictions meet housing production goals. HACLA will use the funds to expand electrical capacity at 2 Palos Verdes Peninsula developments, encompassing 20 acres, 9 city blocks, and 60 buildings. One San Pedro redevelopment replaces 478 units of low-density public housing with over 1,500 new accessible units in a transit-oriented location. Some of the $4 million grant will go towards more pedestrian-friendly, green environments as part of HACLA's project developments in San Pedro. For more information on the Housing Authority of the City of Los Angeles, visit hacla.org. With over 40 years of service, Los Angeles Police Department Chief Michael Moore announced he will retire from the force at the end of February. A member of the LAPD since 1981, Moore was promoted to captain in 1998 and was appointed to the role of LAPD chief in 2018 by then-Mayor Eric Garcetti. In 2023, Moore was appointed by Mayor Karen Bass to serve a second term as the LAPD chief. At that time, he outlined that he did not intend to serve the full 5-year term. Moore departs his role to spend more time with his family. Moore said his departure now would ensure the LAPD has new leadership in place ahead of the city hosting the 2026 FIFA World Cup and the 2028 Olympic Games. For more information, visit lapdonline.org. LA City's Cultural Heritage Commission has voted to save the former home of Hollywood legend Marilyn Monroe from demolition for 180 days. Built in 1929, the Spanish Mission-style house in Brentwood was the only home Marilyn Monroe ever owned. She purchased it in the early 1960s. In 2023, the current owners got a permit to level the home, provoking outcry from preservationists, Hollywood historians, and local politicians. Urged by Councilwoman Tracy Park, LA City Council stepped in, halting development on the site and sending the issue to the Cultural Heritage Commission. Now, the 5-member Heritage Commission has nominated the Monroe home as a historical cultural monument. The move will need city planning approval and an LA City Council vote to make the designation permanent. For more information, visit planning.lacity.gov.
Years on from the Northridge earthquake, Los Angeles Fire Department demonstrated changes in responding to emergencies since that time. Better heavy equipment and new technology can help make rescue operations less arduous, but it's still imperative to have your own emergency plan in place.
We're here at the 30th anniversary of the Northridge earthquake.
And we're given a demonstration of how our equipment and our responses have improved. We did one demonstration where we cut through concrete with our search and rescue team and make access to the victim. The second demonstration that we gave was utilizing some of our new technology that we did not have in 1994, which is where we pour out a hole and then we insert a camera inside. This camera, when it goes inside, it has a 360 view of what's inside there, and we demonstrated where it puts it onto an iPad so that the incident commander has a good visual of exactly what we see in there. And then third, we gave a demonstration utilizing our heavy equipment. So we did have some dozers then, and they still serve a purpose, but now we have equipment that can go in there and it can break apart the concrete, it can separate it, and it has much more capability than we did in 1994.
What you saw here this morning was pretty much a remembrance of what happened that day 30 years ago. The CERT program, which stands for Community Emergency Response Team, was at the time of the Northridge earthquake. It was in existence. The city of Los Angeles right now is 4 million people over 425 square miles. This city has only so many professional responders like firefighters and police. If there is a major event in the city, those folks have to shift to a different operational mode. The community needs to be prepared to take care of itself. That's why CERT is so important. You can find out how to get in touch with the program by going to the LAFD website at www.lafd.org. Once you're done with those classes, you can find a team in your neighborhood.
What we want to remind people is that you can never be too prepared for an earthquake. It's always good to have storage of food, water, have an emergency plan in place.
The reason why we always say prepare for an earthquake is because that's the highest level you can prepare for. If you prepare for an earthquake, you're prepared for mostly everything else.
It was only a year ago that Katy Yaroslavsky took the reins in her district, and a key success has been helping 21,000 people move inside from living on the streets. Councilwoman Yaroslavsky outlines her plans to go further, prioritizing more housing in key demographics in the year ahead. Take a look.
So 2023 was a really busy year. It was a pretty successful year too, especially considering it was our first year in office. So a lot of the work that we did was focused around homelessness and trying to make LA more affordable. So working with the mayor's office in LAFD, as a city, we were able to bring in more than 21,000 people off the streets. So that's the number one priority is bringing more beds online. In our district, Council District 5, we're the only district in the city that doesn't have any general population adult interim beds, which means that if you're between the ages of 18 and 55 and you don't have any children and you're not a veteran, we don't have any beds for you at all in the district. So we were successful in getting approved our first interim general population adult site. It'll be 33 beds. It's a drop in the bucket, but it's a really important start, and over time, it'll bring hundreds of people in off the street. We also worked to codify Executive Directive 1, which was the mayor's effort to streamline the permitting of affordable housing projects. So that's exciting. It'll make it much easier for affordable housing providers to bring those beds online quicker and more cost effectively. I'm also a member of the Metro Board, and so we're really focused on improving the customer experience for Metro riders and increasing ridership, making sure people are and feel safe when they're on the system. So for 2024, we're going to be focused on constituent services, making sure that we're finding excellent, responsive constituent services. We're going to be opening a new field office that we're really excited about. It's going to have a lot more community gathering space, so we're going to really activate that and get our constituents involved more in understanding what we do and having more back and forth out in our own district, which is really exciting. On the policy front, we're going to be focused on bringing those beds online as quickly as possible, and then continued work around DWP, climate work, shutting down oil and gas wells in the district and then across the city faster than the 20-year timeline that the city's already adopted. So we're looking at all the different ways we can make our communities more livable. So Angelenos deserve a city that's responsive, that works, where people feel safe in their homes, in their neighborhoods. It shouldn't be so hard to live here, and it feels hard right now, in large part because of the overwhelming homeless crisis, the quality of life issues for housed folks that result from that. So I've asked my field team to really think about what each of the communities wants, needs. So we're going to be doing street cleanups, neighborhood cleanups. We're going to be doing movies in the park. I want to come up with a pothole in the alleyway program where we're out filling potholes in alleyways. So there's going to be a bunch of stuff where we're out and engaged in the community. And so I'm really looking forward to being in the district more. This first year, I haven't been able to do that as much as I'd like, and so looking forward to much more of that in the coming year.
Councilmember Hugo Soto-Martinez is focusing on uplifting working Angelenos. Whether through rent debt relief, family source centers, or his own community resource fairs, Soto-Martinez is pursuing fairness from the ground up.
Because of the issues of the city and how homelessness numbers are going up and people continue to pay a lot of their income on rent, we want to continue to uplift working people, whether that means making sure that tourism workers get paid a living wage, or building more affordable housing units, or making sure transit is more accessible to the folks who ride the metro, who we know are some of the poorest in the city. We're going to continue to center them and make sure that they have a voice in City Hall. I think one of the main things we did was really deliver for the renters here in the city of Los Angeles. We passed just cause evictions. We did a rent debt threshold, meaning that if you were a day late or $1 short, you can't be evicted. We have a lot of family source centers that the city pays for. These are organizations that help with rent debt, that help folks with their tax returns. And it's really trying to center working people. Well, we gotta make sure we continue to work with them, fund them, and support them as much as possible. We know we have a lot of folks who are immigrants, who are undocumented. There's a lot the city can do for them. We have the tourism ordinance that's being worked through the city structure, but essentially that means giving workers that work in LAX airport or the hotel workers a minimum wage of $25 an hour. If we're really gonna make sure that the people who make our city run are respected and are treated fairly, we gotta start by looking at what they make. One of the things that I'm really excited about is making sure that we give people more transit options, making sure that the city is more walkable. That means fixing our broken sidewalks, making sure that the city is more bikeable. That means putting in more bike lanes. So hopefully this year we'll have our first few miles of protected bike lanes in District 13. In February, we're gonna have Ciclavia right on Melrose. We gotta make sure that our streets are not so car-centric. We're gonna continue to do community resource fairs. We did a handful of them last year. We wanna continue to do that. And anything that has a community involvement, like cleanups, we're gonna continue to do in the district. And if folks want to involve in cleanups, they can go to bit.ly/cleanup13 for more information on that too. Folks can always come into our office, call our phone number at 213-207-3015, visit our website, councildistrict13.lacity.gov. Our social media is CD13 Los Angeles. And if you want to sign up for our newsletter, you can go to bit.ly/CD13 news.
Since its creation in 1954, Los Angeles Municipal Art Gallery has been supporting local artists. Our Maria Hall-Brown met with curators Nancy Mayer and Hugo Cervantes, along with Danielle Tarica from LA's Department of Cultural Affairs, to talk about the important role the gallery still plays in its 70th year.
Los Angeles has a rich history of supporting creative endeavors, and that is very apparent where we are today, the Los Angeles Municipal Art Gallery. What does this gallery mean to the city of Los Angeles and to the Department of Cultural Affairs?
This gallery is such a treasure to the city of Los Angeles. It was created in 1954 as a means to start opening up opportunities for Los Angeles and Southern California artists.
What is the exhibit that you're curating that is being showcased now?
This is the open call Apophenia, and it's in honor of the 70th anniversary of the gallery's history. We're revisiting the open call format, which was meant to include as many artists living and working in Los Angeles today.
Whose art is here, and what was the scope of what you were asking for?
350 artists showed up to our doorsteps over the span of 2 days, and Nancy and I had the task to arrange everything.
Did you accept everything, by the way?
Yes, we didn't turn anyone away at the door who met our requirements.
Wow. The title of this exhibit, Apophenia?
Apophenia.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
Well, so the title is derived from an artwork in the exhibition, we did some research and looked into it because none of us really knew what the word meant. And it sounded like something we should know. So apophenia means the tendency to want to perceive or make meaning among unrelated and random things, such as objects and ideas. So we thought that in this situation for the open call, with so many artworks that are in the show that are so different from one another, but also our curatorial approach in trying to make sense of the show, we thought that the exhibition should be aptly named Apophenia.
Okay, so let's do the nuts and bolts. If somebody wants to come and see the exhibit, when's it open, how much does it cost, that kind of thing?
The gallery is free. Folks are welcome to check out our website, lamag.org, for more information about upcoming exhibits. Our gallery hours are Thursday through Saturday, 11 to 4 p.m. Folks are also welcome to check out culturela.org to see all variety of programs taking place in the city.
A small plug for the rest of the campus as well. I believe HACLA House is open during those same hours. So there are opportunities to also go for tours over there. Those tours do need to be booked in advance though.
I hope that we get to come back and see more exhibits.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
In this week's Things to Do, celebrate the Port of LA's Lunar New Year Festival at a new venue. Enjoy a free screening of the Right to Read documentary and get your gear on for the Griffith Park Run 2024. All this up next on Things to Do.
Join the Port of Los Angeles for a grand opening as they cut the ribbon on the Wilmington Waterfront Promenade and celebrate their 10th annual Lunar New Year Festival. Beginning with a ribbon cutting, it's all happening at this brand new 9-acre park at the end of Avalon Boulevard in Wilmington. The promenade is also the new destination for the Port of LA's 2024 Lunar New Year Festival. The Year of the Dragon festivities start at 3 p.m. and include performances, a petting zoo, and much more. Enjoy fireworks over the port in the evening. Take part in these free events which are open to the public. The grand opening of Wilmington Promenade and the Port of LA's 2024 Lunar New Year Festival happening on Saturday, February 3rd. For more information, visit lawaterfront.org. Los Angeles Public Library invites you to a free screening of The Right to Read. This documentary film follows Oakland NAACP activist Kareem Weaver as he fights for change in his community. Weaver believes that literacy is one of the greatest civil rights issues of our time and is fighting for better reading instruction in schools. The documentary is presented by LA Library's Education and Literacy Department in the Central Library's Mark Taper Auditorium. The screening will be followed by a reception with refreshments and conversation. This event is free and open to the public, but reservations are recommended. The Right to Read screening takes place on Saturday, February 3rd at 2 p.m. For more information, go to lapl.org/events. Registration is now open for the annual Griffith Park Run on Sunday, February 4th. Whether you run, jog, or walk the course, your entry fee will go to supporting over 450 LA city parks and amenities. Depending on your challenge level, there are two options, a half marathon and a 5K. This is the only half marathon that covers all the main trails of Griffith Park, while the 5K is a flat and scenic course. Runners and supporters can enjoy a beer garden and food trucks in the park. Lace up and join the Los Angeles Parks Foundation and Aslan Athletics for the 2024 Griffith Park Run on Sunday, February 4th from 7:30 a.m. For more information, visit rungpr.com. And that's a look at some things to do.
And that's all for this week. I'm Natalia Bilbao, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thank you so much for joining us. Remember that you can watch us online anytime at lacityview.org, and we're also on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube. See you next time for more LA This Week.